Hey, this is Jeff Rose from GoodFinancialSense.com. Today I wanted to talk to all the entrepreneurs and all the wannabe business owners out there. And if you're wanting to start a business, a small business, I wanted to kind of give some tips on how you could go about doing so. And I got a little bit of taste of this whenever I left my old brokerage firm and co-founded Alliance Investment Planning Group. We became small business owners, and it really opened me into a whole new world that I really wasn't accustomed to. Having been on the W-2 employee side for basically all my life, and now becoming a 1099 independent contractor and having to manage some of the day-to-day items that comes along with being a small business, it was a learning experience. Luckily, I had a good CPA to help me along the way, and I had some partners that also to walk through some of those issues. But hopefully some of the tips here that I can share will give you some insight as far as if you're wanting to become a small business owner yourself. But the first thing that you'll want to consider is, how is the business going to be set up? And what I mean by that is, are you going to be a sole proprietor? Are you going to be a partner, a partnership, or is it going to be a corporation? And those are some things that you'll have to find out. Obviously, if you're a solo shop, you're going to be a sole proprietor. But the other things that you'll want to also consider is, do you want to form an LLC? Now, an LLC is above my expertise. I just know that limited liability corporation means that I should have some protection in the event that something were to happen to our business. Now, you want to consult an attorney, someone that is a subject matter expert in that to kind of better assess that. But it's something that if you're forming a business, you might want to look into the additional cost that forming an LLC will do. We did that with our practice here, and I'm actually looking to do that with my online effort with Good Financial Sense, actually forming that into an LLC and some other things as well. So something to consider, but by going the LLC direction, obviously there's additional cost. So these are some of the things that you'll want to consider when it comes to starting your own business. Another thing you'll want to consider when starting your business is going to be your location. And for a lot of small businesses, this is huge. You always hear the phrase location, location, location. And for us, this was very tough initially because we came from an office that was a newly built office, newly constructed, and it was beautiful. And the town that we reside in, there wasn't a lot of available office space, especially at very affordable prices. But being a financial planning firm, we knew that we had to have something that was somewhat respectable. So we looked around and we actually found a shared office space that allowed us to rent out 5 offices, and it had a shared conference room, had bathrooms, it had a secretary that was part of the building. And initially it made it very, very affordable until we could find our now current office that you see here. So that was neat, kind of find that, but it was also an emotional strain trying to find that right office. So location, are you going to rent? Are you going to buy? Maybe you live in a place that allows you to build, just like a small area like ourselves. The other thing is maybe you can just work out of your house. That can also be a very feasible option for you. One of my best friends, he was a photographer, or is a photographer, and him starting off, he didn't have an office. He didn't have a location. He actually would meet with people at a restaurant or a bookstore for their initial meetings, just to see, as far as working out the contracts to do their photography. Now, as his business has grown, he now has his own studio, but it took some time to get to that point. So you don't want to start off too big. I had another friend who was a chiropractor, and he worked for another chiropractor, ended up starting his own business, and went out and bought a very nice building, a lot of equipment, which I'll talk about here in a second. And I want to say within 6 months, he went under. He basically spent way too much initially. And as a small business owner, you have to watch that. You can't go out too crazy and just start spending a lot of money. So you want to consider location. Obviously, you want to have a good location, but you also have to look at what cost or what price that will be to you. The third thing that you'll want to consider when starting your own business is your equipment. And as I mentioned, my chiropractor friend, he went out and bought the biggest, baddest equipment that existed, and he was spending tons and tons of money. And I didn't really understand the chiropractic practice, so I just assumed that's what he needed. And then after he went under, I had some other friends that were chiropractors that basically let me know that he spent way too much. And so for our business, what we didn't need a lot, as a financial planning practice, but we needed printers, computers, desks, filing cabinets, faxes, phone lines, computer networking. So, all those things we had to take in consideration. So as you're looking to start your small business, you want to do a quick inventory of the things that you need and the things that you can maybe do without. And that is some things that you'll want to seriously sit down and do, because I know with us, I was so used to at our old office to where I had everything provided for me. So we had this commercial grade shredder. We had all the little office things that you would need, like a paper cutter, 3-hole punch, staplers, just all those little things that was always provided for us. But now as our own business owner, we had to go out and buy it ourselves. So you become a little bit more cost conscious when you're looking at these items, and you basically start to realize what are the things that you could do without to try to save you some money, to have more money in your pocket versus spending out for unnecessary expenses. Another thing you'll want to consider as a business owner is marketing materials and the way that you're going to go about marketing advertising. With us being a new financial planning practice, we were kind of lucky in a sense because I had clients that were hopefully going to follow me whenever I switched my firm. So we weren't necessarily starting from the ground up, but we still felt that we needed to have some stationery, obviously business cards, envelopes, some brochures that just talked about our new firm and kind of what we offered, how we differed, from where we came from. So, that was some upfront cost that we had to consider. On the marketing side or the advertising side, we actually didn't do a whole lot. Like I said, we benefited from the fact that we already had an existing clientele. But if you're a brand new business, that's something you have to consider. Are you going to do yellow pages? Are you going to build a website? Are you going to do ads on Facebook? Are you going to, hire someone to maybe handle your social media campaign? Obviously, as a new business owner, that's probably going to be you. So you have to make sure that you're expending your efforts appropriately. As a new business owner, obviously you don't have a lot of money coming in. So by using some of these free tools like Twitter or Facebook, that you can really get your name out there, but you got to make sure that you're not putting too much time in there, because obviously you got to make sales or generate revenues to keep that business going. Another thing you'll want to consider when starting your small business is making sure that you have the right team in place and make sure you get the business set up properly. And this can be a little bit expensive, but you're going to want to have a good CPA. My CPA was invaluable in helping me with that transition of just making me realize some of the things as a business owner that I need to be thinking about. Estimated tax payments, keeping track of expenses, and some of those things I just wasn't really accustomed to prior to that. Also, too, if you're going to do the LLC and maybe you need some more elaborate setup in your corporation, a good attorney that specializes in setting up business is also going to be invaluable. Having a good CPA, a good attorney, obviously there's going to be an out-of-pocket expense, but I can't tell you that by not having it set up properly in the beginning, how that could potentially bite you in the end. So, but if that's not available, if you don't have the money to do that, another thing you could do as far as on the attorney side is maybe look to your local university, or a local law school. You might be able to find some law students that maybe are majoring or that's their specialty, so that might be able to help you out there. And there might be, maybe just by asking around, you might have some friends of family that might have some knowledge in helping it out. Or if you have some small business owner contacts that have already done it, seek out some mentors that have already gone through the process. And I tell you what, if they've done it, they can probably walk you through it, and maybe you won't even need to seek the attorney, or at least you can get started off on the right foot without having to spend a whole lot of money for those resources. If you're in the process of wanting to start a business, but you're not quite there yet, one piece of advice I can tell you is try to start generating a client list or a potential customer list before you even start your business. You can do this by collecting email addresses, names, phone numbers, etc. So by the time that you get ready to actually launch your business, you've got this database of potential customers or clients or advocates of your business that can then share people about your new business that you started and help get that word out there. The big thing about having your business be successful is word of mouth. In a small town, big town, wherever, word of mouth marketing is huge. It's priceless. It's easy. I won't say it's easy, but it's cheap. But the whole thing is telling as many people your story and how you can help people, how you can benefit people. And by creating that list before you go actually start your business, that's such a huge advantage to where, having to start from scratch and get all of that information out there. I hope these were some helpful tips for helping you start your small business. Being a small business owner, I tell you, at times it's a challenge, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Whenever I made that transition, it has been one of the best and most rewarding things of my life. And I could never see myself going back to being a pure employee of some big outfit. So I admire, small business owners for taking that risk, for taking that leap of faith into following a passion or a vision or some dream that you have. So I wish you the best of luck. If I can be of any resource to you, feel free to drop me a line here at goodfinancialsense.com. And I look forward to sharing more information with you, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.